Hi. Welcome to Other Unbiased. Our mission is to put forward thought-provoking concepts, ideas, and analysis on a range of subjects. In this episode, we discuss why people ought to consider living permanently at sea. The resource does cover 70+% of the surface area of our planet after all, with diversity of life and the potential to provide sustenance. Living at Sea. Sustainably. Written by Gary Nardi. What comes to mind when you consider living your life on an ever-moving surface that is water? Seasickness and nausea? A fear of being detached from solid ground? A break in ancestral links and tradition? Being detached from wider civilization? Constraints in movement and the ability to explore more widely? Or just that you have a fear of deep water and can't swim? These reasons and many more are all perfectly valid. Human beings generally shy away from water bodies, and rightly so. We are not anywhere near amphibian, and have a long-standing aversion to anything with an abyss-like quality. Nevertheless, many peoples and cultures around the world, particularly in parts of Asia, call it home. It must be said that these are usually places where land is at a premium or in short supply, and with minority groups, usually poor, who have no choice other than to cram onto small boats and survive of the water. At the opposite end, are extremely lavish, expensive, excessive mega yachts for the rich and famous, but we will not go there. In the middle ground, are the small sail boats, power yachts, and usually in the form of mono hulls, catamarans, trimarans, explorer style, trawler style, etc. There are even moves into sustainable yachting, which basically means solar powered with a backup generator. More on this later. This middle ground covers a group of water-loving enthusiasts, who are not necessarily flush with cash, but are keen enough to spend their hard-earned money on a sizable boat. These moored contraptions can be expensive to maintain, particularly in relation to the cost of purchase, which by the way, can be similar to that of a decent family home on land. Effectively, the equivalent of a second home. As always, for brevity, we won't dissect every single option out there or even compare them. However, consider this proposition as food for thought. A floating town at sea, similar to that of an oil rig but mechanically simpler. A well-thought-out oasis with wind, wave, net zero methane combustion from biodigesters, solar panel, or thermal power sources. An environment designed for minimalist and relaxed living, but with plenty of space for children to play and stretch their proverbial legs, as well as for all inhabitants to exercise, socialize, and manage self-sufficient urban farms at sea. All things considered, a good work-life balance. Groupings of these floating towns can trade between themselves if they choose to specialize in any way. It could also expand out to accommodate more people, much like you would on land. There are companies already putting forward concepts and initial designs for such habitations, and with an increasing challenge of maintaining old waste and water systems, large-scale power distribution, roads, transportation, high cost of purchasing a home in a desirable area, etc. Some people would definitely opt for this more sedate and at the same time, more involved way of living. Advantages of such a system. 1. A chance for an alternate lifestyle and living in a village-like community where everything you need is local. 2. A diverse and sustainable society made up of all necessary skill and trade types for complete autonomy. 3. Money becomes less of an issue as the currency for trade effectively becomes a unit of time. In that case, you gain credit by giving your time and participating. 4. While there will be a mix of highly skilled professionals and those perhaps less so, A flat society based on time contributed will go a long way to eliminate classes and division. 5. Residents can always return to land and have catch-ups with relations, go shopping, etc. Just as much as land-based folk can visit floating villages. 6. Localized production and consumption would make a huge difference to the environment and quality of life. Disadvantages of such a system. 1. If decorum breaks down among residents, it would be magnified given the setup of the society. 2. Human nature suggests that some residents will invariably try to assert themselves over others, and such intimidation would be almost inescapable. 3. With a much diminished police force if any, controlling and managing crime would be challenging. 4. The society could end up becoming very strict in order to maintain order and civility among residents. This may help control the undesirable, but would unfairly penalize otherwise conscientious residents. 5. Ingress and egress to and from the platform would require access to a boat and the cost of maintenance to go with it, compared to using a bicycle on land. 6. Perimeter security cannot be underestimated, and would require constant vigilance as attackers could breach and hold residents hostage with police reinforcement potentially several minutes if not hours away. Perhaps it's time to consider living at sea as part of being sustainable? What do you think? Let's have a debate. Share your feedback on our social media handles, @OtherRunBias, YouTube, and thank you for engaging with OtherRunBias.